My name is Sara. I am a compulsive eater, and like the rest of you, I weigh and measure 3 meals a day off the gray sheet, write them down, commit them to my sponsor, and I eat what I say I'm going to eat. I don't eat in between meals, no matter what. It truly is the most important thing in my life without exception, and I've been doing this since May 24th, 2009. And there's some real newcomers here, and I just want to welcome you. I know one of you from meditation, and I know one of you who comes on some of the meditations sometimes. But I'm looking around this room, and I think with maybe one exception or two exceptions, everybody in this room has had a profound impact on me and my abstinence. And wow, that's really something, that we all hold hands. And, Phyllis asked me a while ago to speak, and so, of course, I start thinking about what I want to share, and someone wisely said there's 3 shares we give: the one we plan to give, the one we actually give, and then the one we wish we'd given after it's all over. So I'm not sure which one I'm going to give, but so for those of you who've never heard me share, that the most important thing is that I have been a compulsive eater from the time I can remember. I've never had a normal relationship with a bite of food. I've always been, since my late early years, whatever, early teens, just I was a lonely, angry child, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and I tried to fix it all with food, and my thing was sugar, and the sweeter the better, and I never had a clue that food was the problem. I thought my family was the problem. I thought my weight was the problem. I thought particularly my mother was the problem. I thought I had a lot of problems, and it never occurred to me that the food was the problem. And so I sort of traipsed through my years looking for diets. I would lose weight. I'd gain it all back. And when I was in my early 30s, my sister, who was living in Cambridge, Massachusetts, discovered Grey Sheet. It was not GreySheeters Anonymous then. It was Overeaters Anonymous. And she told me about it, and she actually took me to my first Grey Sheet meeting, which was in the end of August, 1983. And my abstinence date is May 24th, 2009. Well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that I had a little trouble getting abstinent. And I had years and years and years of not knowing what I wasn't doing. What was the trick that you guys could do that I couldn't do? And I would come. One time I had 5 months of abstinence, and one time I lived in California, and one time 2 abstinent Grey Sheeters with 9 and 10 years moved to California. They had met me in Paris at a roundup and called me and asked me if I would help them start meetings, and being a good codependent, I said of course, but I was a half measure. I didn't have the willingness. And I finally hit some kind of bottom in 2005, but I still had 4 day ones, and I still to this day do not know what was different on May 24th, 2009. What I do know what was different, and all I can say is that a higher power held my hand, is that when I had to make some decisions after I got abstinent, for the first time I started making the right decisions. I started making the no matter what decisions. An example you've all heard is I poured something on my dinner and it went, a tenth of a hundredth of an ounce over, something that was minute, and my little head said, this isn't you're not gonna gain weight. Nobody's gonna know. And for whatever reason, I put that in the sink and I started over again. And for the first time, this was about 3 months after I got abstinent, I understood what no matter what meant. And that has become the real guideline for me. And I believe, in my opinion, it's the difference between GreySheeters Anonymous and many of the other food programs that are available to all of us, that we just do this no matter what, whether we're on an airplane for 24 hours or we're in sick and having horrible surgeries and people have to bring us food and the whole world has to help us. We have to learn how to ask for help. We have to learn a lot of things. When I was still living in the United States, they used to say that GreySheeters Anonymous was assertiveness training 101, and I found that to be true. I wanted to read you something out of the big book because I read it a lot. You know, I had 12 years on May 24th, and every year things change. You know, my body changes. I still think my body's trying to work out how it digests normal food. I'm learning, and it doesn't do what I want it to do. But this is on page 84 of the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous, and it's step 10, which I try to do every day. And it suggests that we continue to take personal inventory, and that we continue to set right any new mistakes as we go along. We vigorously commence this way of living as we cleaned up the past. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. We continue to watch for selfishness, dishonesty, resentment, and fear. And when these crop up, we ask God at once to remove them. And we discuss them with someone immediately and make amends quickly if we have harmed someone. Then we resolutely turn our thoughts to someone we can help. Love and tolerance of others is our code. I came into GreySheeters Anonymous and I didn't know what love and tolerance of others meant. We have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even the food, for by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested. It says liquor, I'm going to change it to food. If tempted, we recoil as if from a hot flame. We react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened automatically. We will see that our new attitude toward food has given us, without any thought or effort on our part, it just comes, and that is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we had been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. We have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. That is our experience, and that is how we react, so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. And it's so easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels, and we are headed for trouble if we do. For alcohol and food is a subtle foe. We are not cured of this. What we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. That describes me today, and it is a miracle. It is absolutely a miracle that somebody who has compulsively eaten for her entire life, and I just turned 74, who could not get abstinent for 26 years, that I can tell you with absolute certainty that I have ceased fighting as far as food, anything or anyone, and that I really am in a place of neutrality. I'm telling you all this because I had a really difficult summer. I had a complete burnout. It took me a long time to use those words. I was doing too much. They were all good things. I was just doing too much. I didn't want to go to meetings. I didn't like anybody. I wanted to sleep or I wanted to watch movies. I had to stop many of the things that I loved doing. I used to joke that I was like in old England and I was taking the cure at the seashore and the sanitarium or something, only I had to do it for myself. And I would read that a lot because every single day I did the same thing, whether I liked it or not. I would get up, I would have my breakfast, I'd go to the meditation meeting, I'd talk.
5 minutes, Sarah.
Thanks, Catherine. I'd talk to sponsees, and then I would do some writing. I took long walks. I talked to sponsees in the evening. I would go to my meetings whether I liked it or not. I often didn't share. I was very quiet. I didn't feel anything. All I knew is that all those 12 years of just doing the same thing over and over again saved my life, and that probably if I just kept doing it and didn't think about it, didn't pay any attention to my feelings, that it was probably still going to keep saving my life. And I got through the summer. It's been a long summer, and it wasn't even nice weather here in Paris. For the first time, we've had 3 days of summer, really beautiful weather, 30 degrees. And I'm telling you all this because all of this is a miracle, that I could feel so poorly. And, it says we just share it with one other person in our higher power. Well, I shared it with a couple of you, and I shared it with people. But I didn't need to dwell on it. I just needed to take care of myself. And over, they say this is a program of action. And that's what I've learned, is just do the next thing. I'm not a person who likes exercise. And the fact that every single day I wanted to get up and take a long walk. And I took a vacation in the countryside here in France and found some really wonderful walking places. And each day I got a little better. And as our dear friend, I'm going to name you Susanna, says, the 3 meals are our anchor. And they were definitely my anchor. My meditation meetings were an anchor. I didn't like any of you 100% of the time, but knowing that you were there, that I would get on these meetings, and knowing you were there was an anchor for me. I knew that if I want to stay abstinent for any long term, and I do, shit is going to happen. I'm going to have good days and I'm going to have bad days. And I might have a lot of bad days in a row. There's somebody on this meeting that's had much worse than I have had and got through it abstinent. I just think that GreySheeters Anonymous, for me, it is the greatest gift I've ever had in the world, and I would never give this away willingly. And I hope that if anything really drastic happens to me, that I just yell at the top of my lungs, help me, and that you will all be there. I don't know exactly what else to say. One day at a time. One meal at a time turned into 1 day at a time, turned into 1 month at a time, turned into 1 year at a time. Things have changed. The foods that I like have changed. I'm pretty much eat the same meals all the time. You guys told me just to keep praying and let go of things. The big book tells us if we don't want to go back to doing what we did, we have to change our thinking and our behaviors 100%. And having 26 years of experience of relapse, I knew that was true, absolutely true. And so I do that today. I try to the best of my ability, examine my day, and could I have done better? Maybe. Did I need to make an amends? I don't have to make many amends today. I really dislike it, so I'm very careful. And but I'm a big mouth, and I can get really bossy. And I'm human, and I make mistakes, and I step on people's toes. And
1 minute left.
Thanks, Catherine. And I don't want to lose my abstinence over any of that. I found that people can be very forgiving if you say, I'm sorry, I really didn't mean that. It was a real lapse on my part. And I'm very close to a lot of you here, and you guys have told me how much you love me, and I actually believe you today, which is huge. I believe that I can be lovable, and that's been the boogeyman all my life. Am I lovable? No, I didn't think I was, no matter what I did. So you guys have taught me love and tolerance for others is what gets us through our lives, and kindness. I've learned kindness since I've been in Paris. Kindness goes a really long way. We need to be kind to each other, and we need to love each other, and we don't need to eat over any of it. And none of us have, in my opinion, have ever done anything so awful that we need to punish ourselves daily with food abuse, ever. So I'm going to stop there and say thank you very much.